Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of the Dank Shrine. We have a sick episode coming up. I'm your host, Anthony Toast Williamson. My co-host is...
Zili, how you guys doing?
Shout out to the Dank Shrine for Twitter, our email address, thedankshrine at gmail, and check out chovoteamleague.com, BornGosu.com. Now this week we have a special show because we do have a guest. James, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
And my name is James Horsey, and I play for Psistorm Gaming, and my gamer tag is MygraiN.
It's great to have you with us.
Thanks.
So jumping right into it, what did you think of WCS in general?
Oh, it was awesome. Everyone said, one of my friends actually went to the tournament, and he said it was like one of the best times of his life, and everyone was like tweeting afterwards that it was like one of the best events they ever went to, and all the games were really good too, so even if you weren't there, it was really awesome.
We'll dig a little bit deeper into that. Now, we got a couple questions for you.
Sure.
The first thing, let's talk about like the biggest things to have happened to Psistorm like currently or recently. What's going on? Like, how does the team feel with True being on the team now?
Oh, I mean, he's great. We actually have mandatory practice that we all have to do. So, like, I'm getting to play with True. Like, how often are you going to get to play with, like, a GSL Korean? And we play, like, maybe, like, 3 games a week, depending on, like, his travel schedule and stuff like that. So, like, I've loved it, and I'm sure, like, all the team loves it, too, just because, you know, he won, WCS and stuff like that. So he's been huge for our team.
Right. And you were also telling me that he actually speaks some pretty good English.
Yeah, I mean, I've like hung out with him at the team house a couple times, and yeah, his English was actually pretty good. I didn't expect him to like speak a word of English, but then I was like having like full conversations with him. I was like, yeah, this is awesome.
That is kind
Nice.
of awesome.
Yeah.
Then the next big thing. So with losing No Regret, what can you kind of tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't exactly know what happened, but I mean, just from like what I know in the team and stuff like that, I mean, he fell asleep through like WCS, like he wasn't performing in like tournaments and stuff like that.
He slept through WCS, you said?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I understand happened for the last one. I know the one before that he was sick, but it's like, you know, if you're a pro gamer, it's your job. So like, and he wasn't showing up for team leagues and stuff like that. So I don't know. I just feel like we put a lot of like time and like a huge investment into him, and we just didn't really see, I guess, like the other side, I guess. So.
Hey, MygraiN, could you move your webcam up a little bit?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Is this better?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of your chin there. Yeah. So
yeah.
I had a question for you.
More, bud.
It's an excellent chin. I'm not going to deny.
Thank you. Yeah.
So how long you been on the team?
I think like 2 years. I think I was actually the first GM player that they had, and it was just like a local team at the time. And now we have, you know, like a Korean, Pele's from like Kazakhstan, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then we had Demilov for a while, who's Indian. I mean, we just got people from like all over. Enders from Philippines, so it's just like a really diverse team.
Yeah. It's pretty cool being there from the start, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I've basically seen it from just like a local team of like 3 or 4 people to, you know, become this like huge, like real team, which has been really cool.
Do you think that money that they spent on No Regret going to Korea could have been better spent on someone like Pele or someone else on the team?
I mean, yeah, who knows? Like, I think, like when we started with Jake, like he was like putting a lot of work in. Like he was like at the team house for a while, and or not the team house, like he was like living in Virginia basically, and he was like putting in like serious work. Like he was working like 8 to 10 hours a day, and it's like he was really like
He had the passion.
Yeah, I mean, he was like really like trying his best, you know, like so. In the beginning, I think like we were all like really excited for Jake, and you know, he was from Canada, so he was like, you know, not really far away from us and stuff like that.
Right.
But I think we just like, I don't know about, I don't want to speak for Carl or anything like that, but I think we saw a person who we thought could like, you know, compete with like the top tier people, and like we all like believed that for like a really long time. So. I don't necessarily think it was wasted at the time, but I guess I expected like more to happen, I guess, with him. So
Sure. Well, regardless, we wish him luck wherever he goes, and hopefully he brings his passion back, and you know he gets back into it.
Sure, yeah.
For sure.
Moving on from that, so are you excited for BlizzCon?
Yeah, I mean, it's the biggest tournament of the year, and True's going, so it's even more hype for us.
You're represented.
Yeah, do you guys do anything for that? I mean, is there like some sort of team meeting, or do you guys like?
I'm sure.
Can you get me a backstage pass?
I don't know. I think Damon's going to BlizzCon, and I think Carl wants to go out too, just because like it's. I mean, how often are you gonna get one of your players in like BlizzCon? So you know.
That's true.
And I think he has like a good shot. He like plays weird enough that I think that like he like could go pretty far in the tournament. So we're all pretty hyped for him.
Yeah, I think of all the foreigners, you know, True's got a good shot. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. by far the best foreigner.
Best
foreigner.
We actually had one of our members just of BornGosu at WCS Mexico City actually.
Oh nice. Yeah.
We saw him in the crowd a couple times. He had a nice BornGosu's the best clan sign. So he was repping us hard, so that was kind of awesome to see.
He's not playing, but he's repping the clan, so it's even
Still
better.
repping us, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Might as well be playing.
Yeah, exactly.
So besides True, who do you think has a good shot to win BlizzCon?
Jeez. I was kind of sad that SOS wasn't able to get in.
Me too.
Just like, I mean, you know, going that far in GSL and not being, but that's like a whole other issue, I guess, with like the Koreans. They can only do like SSL and GSL basically.
Yeah.
And they have like no other tournaments, which really sucks for them.
Well, if they weren't so good,
Yeah, then we wouldn't have to put them like by themselves.
we wouldn't have to region lock them.
I don't know, man. True, like I want to do really well. For some reason, I think Showtime's gonna do really well. He's just been like blowing up this year. And then I don't know.
You're
like,
Hearthstone though.
Yeah, it's the year of Hearthstone always. It's the decade of Hearthstone.
The decade.
Yeah.
Polyps has got this.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just whenever I watch like BlizzCon and stuff, it's just like the best games like by far. So that's just what I watch it for basically.
Do you really think any of those foreigners have a chance, or?
No. I mean, no. But
Okay.
it would be nice.
I mean, I do actually. I think someone like Snoot could definitely show up.
Maybe Neeb, like Snoot or Neeb, you know, they're probably the top ones.
I think they play on a level that can compete.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, Neeb was like Bjorn was playing with Neeb like for GSL, like that should say a lot, you know.
Speaking of that, that's who actually. I mean, I love True, and he's a person I want to see get there. But also Bjorn, just because Bjorn's been playing out of his mind.
I mean, yeah, everybody loves Bjorn. He's like done so much for the matchup and you know the game. He plays like a really exciting style, like super aggressive, super micro intensive, and just everybody likes to see that. Like even if you're a pros player, you're like, shit, that's awesome. Like
it is.
Yeah. So, I'd say like, what do you think about Legacy of the Void? How do you think about this expansion compared to the previous ones, and what part of the game do you like the most right now?
I think Legacy it's the best rendition of the game. Although I would say like HOTS towards the end was like I felt like it was extremely balanced, like a really balanced game, and that's usually what the like David and like all those like designers go for is just like the perfectly balanced game. But there's also a component of like they want the community to be happy and stuff like that. So that's something they always have to balance. But yeah, I thought HOTS like I was loving it towards the end of HOTS, but then like when Legacy came out, I thought the game was just like way harder. Like you start off with way more money, and even now, like I forget my pylon's late like every single time. Like it just like the HOTS is like ingrained in my brain where I like just did it like later. But I think it's just a more exciting game. There's more. The games are I think on a whole like they're shorter too, so it's like you can take in more Starcraft basically. There's not you don't see like a 2-hour Swarm Host game where like Mana wants to like kill himself afterwards. So it's a lot better in that sense I would say. And there's not really if you think about it too, like there's no I wouldn't say there's a style nowadays where people are like this is bullshit, like this can't be in the game right now. Like
well you don't spend enough time on Reddit.
I guess not.
Well, there's no like 4-gate.
Yeah. There's no 4-gate. There's no Broodlord Infester. There's no like 1-1-1. So there's always been a time where each race had like a build that was like stupid, like the Soul Train like partying and stuff like that. But I think it's the best rendition of the game too. It's just more action packed. There's like you have more money all the time, so you can drop like double robo and like you can do a lot more harassment, which is cool and it's fun to watch too.
Hey, could you move your webcam up a little bit again? Too.
Sorry, it's this little tiny thing. Is that better?
Yeah, you good.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool.
I was gonna say I think too though that it relies with the increased economy we do see more early game pressures.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's part of why we see such shorter games, which I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of getting it done and dirty.
Yeah. You proxy Oracle a lot, so that's about as dirty as you can get.
It works for Haas, so it can work for me.
That's true.
So speaking of Haas, dude, he plays such an interesting style that
Yeah.
He's someone I would like to have seen win just to see that style even more.
I mean, can you imagine like the outrage on Reddit? Like if Haas were to win a major tournament, like
I love it.
Everybody's going 14 Oracle
I think
all day.
people actually wanted to kill him when like he walled off. I don't remember the map, but he like walled off like Jaedong's like natural with like pylons and did like a cannon rush. So like it just was crazy stuff.
Yeah,
it's cool that he plays the game different though. It's always fun to see someone that plays a different style like that.
Yeah, I was talking to Chase and basically like if you ever watched Hitman, like where he just plays the game a different way, like, and I think I don't know if this is true, but like I think part of the reason, like some people have told me this, where like he is not like as good at Legacy because you can't really do that stuff anymore. You don't see like a proxy like 3-gate against Protoss and stuff. It's not like as viable. So a lot of his like build orders like are just not possible anymore.
And there's just a lot better scouting now too, with Zerg being able to have the Overlord speed. And
that's true.
Yeah, I mean you see everything coming. Like you were never able to do stuff like that in HOTS, and that's why he was like really successful. He's like in WCS, and he was like playing macro games like PvT, like Double Forge, Colossus, like so he could do it all. So he's like one of those guys that's really scary because he can do both. That's why I think like not to throw like Jake in here again, but like if he were to like work on his macro more, and like we're all telling him this, like, yo, when you go to Korea, just like do macro games, like you can do the cheese, but if you're like one of these guys who can like do like a like a 14-14 or whatever, and then you play like a 3-base like macro game or whatever, then it's like no one knows what to expect from you, like when you play against Neeb, like I think this is why he kind of just lost to Scarlet, is like he does the same thing every time. He's like dropping the gate, the gas, whatever, like, so he's really predictable, but he's so good at it, so he can pull off stuff like that.
I think part of it's too is because we've been playing this game for so long now. Like everyone's gotten much better. Like I honestly think if you took someone like a Codes Korean from Wings of Liberty and then had them face a Diamond from Legacy of the Void and had them play each other, I give it the edge of the Diamond player, to be honest. Like if it's a tier 1 Diamond player, I give the edge to the Diamond player.
So funny too, because a lot of that's because like the metagame too. Like if you remember, like in the earlier days of GSL, like people weren't even taking a natural. Like I remember like Jinro when he was like playing in GSL, he like dropped an early command center, and everyone was like, "What the fuck is he doing? Oh my god!" Like
tasteless. What's going on? I've never seen this.
And
Artosis, this is literally the first game.
God, calm down.
Well, I mean, think about it. Legacy of the Void was that way at first too, right?
That's true.
I mean, nobody had idea what to do.
That's a good point actually, where there's a lot more like early aggression. I remember like against Zerg, I would do like a super early robo, and I would just like drop Adepts. Like that's all I did. I was like, Adepts are so cool. I just want to get them in their face like all the time.
Yeah.
Well, that still works.
That still works.
I gotta bring that back.
All right. Well, last question here before we get into going over what we have planned here, and this is the most important question we have for you: is who are you voting for, Hillary or Trump?
I mean,
I'm just kidding. Are you voting? Are you voting for the meme queen?
I mean, yeah. There's no option, man. Like.
I think there literally is no option. Like I'm gonna vote True for president.
You should watch the most recent South Park. It does well with like all the like election stuff.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm gonna watch it.
Like, do you want to vote for a giant douche or a turd sandwich? It's the story of like our election now.
That's pretty much true. Well, we won't get into politics.
Yeah,
let's stick away from that.
So some sick WCS.
Yeah.
Oh, Chase, go ahead. Do you have something?
Yeah, I think my last question is just like, what's your favorite matchup in the game right now, and why do you think it is?
I think my favorite is.
And make sure you tell everybody what you play too. I mean, I think we.
Oh yeah, I play Protoss.
We all play Protoss.
Nice.
Like all of us.
That's why you invited me, guys. Cause
exactly. As on all Protoss
part
podcasts, like we're biased.
Dank Shrine, indeed. I think it's funny because I really hate Liberators right now. Like it's just there's so many crazy like early factory builds where you can like drop mines and you gotta like Liberator somewhere else, and it's like you gotta like think about all this stuff all the time. But I think I like PvT the best, even though besides the Liberator, I guess. But PvZ feels like really weird for me. Like in HOTS, it's like, all right, let me just like get my sentries and then get some stalkers, and then I'm just gonna do that for like 15 minutes. And now it's like, all right, you gotta drop like 2 robos, and you gotta like make archons and like all this stuff. And it just seems really weird. Like a lot of the engagements, I feel like I'm not playing the game correctly, but then Like I was just watching Neeb versus Scarlet with Chase, and he just makes like Archons. He doesn't get Storm. He doesn't get any splash damage. And we were both like, oh, he's gonna lose this fight. And then he's like, I had like 60 supply afterwards, and I'm just like, I just don't understand this game.
Right? It's like pull the drones and surround some immortals all of a sudden.
Yeah, and Scarlet, like she pulled like 40 drones to Neve had like 15 immortals or something, and she like won somehow the fight. It was insane.
Yeah, it's a weird matchup for sure.
Yeah, it just feels weird. I'm sure with like the meta over the next year or so, like more stuff's gonna get figured out. But like right now, it just feels like it just feels insane. Like both sides are like so aggressive towards each other and stuff. Like you start with like an Oracle, or you throw like 9 Adepts in their face, or like you drop DTs, and then you're like flying around with Archons and stuff, and it just feels like a weird game, I guess. But it's still fun. It's like exciting.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, that was awesome. So yeah, like I was saying, so we're going into our topics now. So our first topic here for foreign scene is we're going to talk about WCS Mexico City. What did you think of Scarlet losing so early?
I mean, yeah, big surprise. Like Scarlet's one of those players where like, I mean, you feel like she can go like super deep in a tournament, or you feel like she can get knocked out in the first round, and you know, so the latter happened that time. But yeah, with like Igas too, like we were talking a little bit earlier, how like Igas plays like crazy macro games, and Scarlet's one of those people that can like do any kind of build, but I think her style is like mostly macro, and I guess you're kind of like playing into Igas's like territory right there, where he just like does like similar builds, and I haven't watched him in a while, but like he plays like almost always like super macro intensive, so I think like that might have been like one of the reasons why she lost, I guess.
Yeah. Going into the tournament, did you have any predictions, like who you thought might win, like just based on who was there?
Yeah, I mean, you always like everyone, you know, when Neeb like goes into a tournament, they're like, this is the one.
Yep.
This is it. Here,
this is Neeb's time.
Yeah, but I mean, he just hasn't you know, got there yet. So I mean, he's always like one of those contenders.
And you think especially for this tournament, because there's been so many where he's gotten so close, and it's kind of disappointing.
I mean, this has been a huge year for him. I wonder how much money he's made recently. Like,
I mean, even though he's not winning, he's still making a lot, because he's making appearances and everything.
He's like top 4, like top 2 sometimes. Like he's just, and like I feel like when anyone plays him, they're like, oh fuck, it's Neeb. Like, so
I feel that's the thing too.
Yeah. But then like Hydra, like I expected to do better, but Euthermal's been doing really well recently. So
do you think part of Euthermal's success comes from the signing with Team Liquid? Just who's kind of like hyped up for that? Like, I got to make a good showing.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, that's definitely something that can like motivate you to train harder. I mean, even when I like joined Psistorm, I was like, okay, I gotta fucking practice like these 3 days, like, and I was working like 3 or 4 jobs, and I was like, no, man, I gotta make time, like. But like as I got older, I just realized like I can't do that shit anymore.
You can't just say fuck sleep. You have to actually sleep for more than 4 hours.
It kind of seemed like one of these things for you, Thermal, where it was potentially an opportunity for him to maybe have too much pressure on him, but it seemed like he did decently. I mean, the games against Showtime, I think that's really Showtime's best matchup, and that was who ended up taking him down.
Yeah, and Showtime's been crazy. I mean, it's like all these players are so good now. Like if you think about it, like all these Europeans are super scary. Like Euthermal, Showtime, like. It's just insane. Like Snoot's always been crazy good, but it's just like I feel like they've been like blowing up recently.
Yeah. So what do you think about Snoot? I mean, what was your whole thought on his run there?
I mean, he just plays like he plays just Snoot versus whatever. Like he doesn't play like anyone else really. He does this like I'm gonna make like 400 Ravagers and I'm just gonna shoot Corrosive Vials for like an hour and a half, and just he beats everybody somehow. So like the game Showtime won, they were I think. I watched the series, so I don't remember exactly, but I think like 2 of them were like pretty all in, like that he ended up winning, I think, and like the macro games he just got like blown up. So, but yeah, I'm not super surprised because Snoot's always one of those guys who you feel like could like actually win a tournament, and it's funny to say that because I don't think he's won a tournament, and like besides the I guess the 2 that he won recently or whatever, he hasn't really like won a tournament in a long time, or maybe even ever. I don't know.
Yeah. I think something that has to deal with the recent foreigner success kind of goes back to what Euthermal had said in his interview, that now that everything's region locked, he was saying it basically has given them a better opportunity to play later in these tournaments and thereby getting their skill level higher to match. Like before it was, they were getting crushed by these Koreans and they were just out first round out, random Korean, and then it's just an all-Korean tournament.
Yeah, Uthermal said that in a recent interview where he just feels like he didn't even want to like go to these major tournaments besides the reason that he was on a team. He's just like, I'm gonna get fucked by some Korean in the first round, like
yeah.
So it's not even worth it.
But now moving forward, he's saying like everyone's been playing better. Like they're seeing they're able to compete with the Koreans, and then and matching them to some degree of level, you know.
I really hope at like BlizzCon the Koreans don't like just slaughter everybody, but I'm kind of scared that that's still.
Besides true.
Yeah. Besides true. The foreigner, right?
I mean, he's foreigner hope. He's America's hope. He's America's hope now.
But that's why this BlizzCon is gonna be so much fun, because everyone's wondering that same question, and it's been so long since we've had everybody, aside from the foreigners that are here from Korea.
Yeah, and also I think the Europeans, like particularly, and like I guess like Neve and Scarlet too. I don't know if Scarlet, she's not going to BlizzCon, right? So, but I guess just like Europeans and like Neve, they're probably thinking like, this is our chance to like do really well in like a tournament against Koreans. So I'm sure they're gonna train like insanely hard.
Yeah.
Like TL has like their boot camp now, so I know they're doing a lot too. So
I'm excited for it.
You don't think they're gonna be like training for StarCraft 3?
Yeah, Lobo probably is.
Warcraft 4 probably first.
Yeah, Rotterdam's gonna be all up in that, so it's Todd.
I don't want to lose Roddy or Todd, really. Actually, I've grown to love Todd.
Yeah, me too, actually. And like when you meet him in person, you're like, yeah, this guy's awesome.
I just love how Todd's like, what do you want? Like he just has like that, like I don't know, like that attitude. I love it though.
Yeah, he's super friendly. Like I guess you like wouldn't expect him to be for some reason. Like I watched his stream and I like saw him getting upset in games. I was like, maybe he's not nice, but he's like totally nice.
It's because he's so handsome. You're just like intimidated. It's like God, he's so good looking. Like I can't.
Nobody's nice when they're losing games, though.
What am I gonna say to him?
Right?
What did you think about the casting? Did you check it out? Were you watching the games, listening to them, or?
Yeah, I think I was like. It's funny. It seems like so long ago, but it was like not even like 3 or 4 days ago or whatever. But yeah, I mean, like Rotterdam's always like, he just has like knowledge. He's like our esports historian. He'll like remember a game from like True in like season 1 of GSL or something, and we're like, nobody knows that, and like he knows that like it was yesterday. So like I always like hearing him cast.
As a player, what do you think about having Pig out there?
I mean, like Pig is like he's like next level. I didn't expect him to like kind of like blow up of like how he has, but he like understands the game really well, and he does all these like dailies and stuff now. So I think he's like a great addition to like most casts. He's also good at like hype too, which is something that a lot of the player casters aren't great at, but he's like great at that. So
I actually think Maynard captures the hype pretty well. I think
he's awesome. Just his voice and his giant beard and
those eyebrows.
Yeah. Yeah,
I love me some Maynard.
Yeah, me too. I love with if you ever like turn on like one of the foreign casts, like the French casters, like their hype is insane, and there's like the Puerto Rican casts and like some of the other some of the Spanish ones. They're like, it's just insane. Like the way they talk about the game, you're just like, I wish I understood this language, but I don't even care.
Exciting.
Yeah, like you don't even care. You're just like, wow, this is so hype. Like
even the GSL guys, in Korea do it too.
Those,
true.
I think we're lacking in America.
Yeah, I think so too. You always hear the like GSL casters like yelling in the background, and just like,
well,
and we don't have that.
To be fair, Tasteless and Artosis don't need that kind of hype. They give it hype for them just being there.
They're the best. I mean, I laugh my ass off every time I listen to them. They're just like the funniest duo, and I think like the best casters, they're also like the best friends in like real life, and you can really see that with them, where if there's like downtime, they can talk about like how they played like Metroid Prime last night together or something. Like so they have a great dynamic.
Yeah,
I agree. I hope that at some point me and Zili can be as great as them.
You bet, man.
For sure.
All right.
So I think that's it, unless you wanted to go over GSL with us, but I think that's kind of where you have the most insight.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like after GSL, because I didn't actually watch SSL, so I'll probably be useless at that point.
All right, well, cool. Well, since we were talking about Tasteless and Artosis anyway, that brings us to our next topic of GSL.
Seamless transition.
Right?
Excellent,
Perfect.
Right. Nice. Dank Shrine. Remember it.
Exactly. This is skill. So we did have Beyond, our teamless Terran, heading up against SOS, probably like one of the scariest players
Oh, definitely.
I don't think anyone saw Beyond making. I think every time he kept advancing, like, well, he's out next. Well, he's out next.
Yeah, a lot of people miscounted him, and a lot of the reason was like that he didn't have a team, and people just thought he wouldn't be able to hang. And I think with like SOS, like no one from like his team's gonna play with Beyond. Like they're not gonna ever give him games and stuff. But like I mean, he reached out to like people like Neeb, and I'm sure that practice helped a lot.
Yeah. I think Beyond had the unfair advantage. I mean, he had his coach with him the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
himself.
What did you think of the series?
It was awesome. I mean, like I obviously wanted SOS win, but like when you're watching Beyond, you're just like, how does he do that? Like, and it's funny. What's the best part about like this whole GSL thing is like on ladder now, like on like at least for me, like you'll see people try to do Beyond stuff, and it's just like they can't even like get close. It's really funny. They're like, okay, I got this medevac, I can beat like 10 adepts, and they try to like micro like one marine and stuff like that, like Beyond does, and they just like can't do it. But yeah, I mean, like you just see what he can do with like his units, and it's like, I mean, like even watching like Maru and stuff back in the day, you're like, holy shit, this guy is like next level.
Yeah, I mean that's what everybody's compared him to, right? Is Maru in terms of micro.
Yeah, I mean, like I think he's even better than Maru. Like,
yeah, I think so too.
Especially like in the the last game of like Codas, like that's when you need to bring it the most. So yeah.
Do you guys remember how MKP was like the first one to get really good at like marine splits?
Yeah.
Like doing it like versus Zerg and stuff.
Yeah,
that's how Beyond controls his entire army.
Yeah, it's insane. I remember there was a game like where MKP like it was like a super standard map like back in the day where it was like a space map or whatever. And I remember like everyone was like, oh, he only has like 10 Marines, and there were like 10 Banelings, and he like kills all of them, doesn't lose any units, and we're all just like, what the fuck? Like,
what just happened there?
Yeah, and it's funny because like when you see people do stuff like that, then like other people think they can do it too. Like I remember when I like read this book about like when the 4-minute mile got like when someone did it for the first time, then like in the next year like 10 people did it. So it's like people just realize that it's possible.
Once it's possible, and then you realize that you can shoot for that goal and achieve.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so we might be seeing that in the future. You know, a lot more people being able to micro the Marauders and do it the way that Beyond's doing it.
Please no.
I mean, to be honest, SOS played decent games, but Beyond just made him look average.
Yeah, I mean he really did. I mean, totally outclassed, and especially from like SOS, who like is good at pretty much every aspect of the game. Like when you see him micro, you're like, wow, he's like really good at micro. And then I think even like Tastosis was like SOS is really good at micro, but not even close to being as good as Beyond. Like, and you really see it, in the games. And there was like one where I remember the game on New Gettysburg where he like forgot Thermal Lance, and like he kept chasing like the Vikings, and I was like, you can't do that, man. Like you can't just like he didn't even fight with his bio at all. He just kept like running the Vikings back and like shooting like.
Yeah. And it was the most sick micro ever. I mean that like interaction that they had there, where he was able to kite those Vikings back and forth, just made Colossus look stupid.
Yeah, and like if you see the supply after that, he's up like 60. He like hardly lost like any units. It's like not even
landed like 6 Vikings and just ripped apart the whole army, right?
Yeah, it was nasty.
I think the other part of it is that. Because SOS isn't just SOS can play any aspect of the game. He can play the macro game. He can play aggressively. Yeah. And the fact that Beyond was able to play, better in all styles, because those games weren't all standard. They were goofy. Some of them were goofy games, and he was still able to just outclass SOS.
Yeah. What I would have liked to see SOS do more, and I don't know if he thought about this like going into the series, where like, all right, it's SOS. He's gonna do some weird shit. I mean, he did Proxy Oracle the first game, so like he's kind of like playing into his image, but he didn't do like crazy weird shit.
No.
Besides like he did like a DT drop, but that's like kind of common almost. Like,
and it was 3 Oracles in a row, and I felt like that was kind of what SOS was lacking. There was some really well prepared build orders, and I think that he kind of underestimated his opponent.
I completely agree. Yeah, and I think like when you see like a guy like Beyond who's just like murdering people. I think there was like his series against Ryung, I think it was, where it was like 3-2, I think. But like he's just like crushing everybody. Like you gotta prepare some crazy shit. Like, and he's the king of that stuff. Like I would have loved to see him do like a really weird, like a proxy something, like a proxy robo or something. Like, but
I think if he had done my proxy Stargate build, he probably
the toast build, yeah.
Yeah, he probably could have used that build each game and won. I mean, I'm just saying it works.
No, it does. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen the replays, man.
Seen the replays. You should try that on some of your teammates, see if you can get it to work.
Yeah, they'd probably like beat me up because I see them in real life.
beat you up. Don't cheese me like that.
What do you think about the Korea? Like, what the whole scene and the stage and the way all the hype was? How did it come across to you guys on the camera? Because I thought it was like one of the best games we've ever seen. And how did it seem to you from the way that people were there live?
I think like it seemed really awesome. Like the way the venue is like set up and stuff. And it's like,
yeah,
you know, they put like. It seems like they put way more like money and like time and effort into stuff like that. Like when you watch like other tournaments and stuff like that, it just doesn't compare to like the finals of like a GSL where they just like go crazy. They have these like massive screens with all these like hype videos. They had like the poker commercial with like Beyond and SOS, which was really cool. And
yeah, I thought it was a great production.
Oh, definitely. It always is. It's like it's top tier for sure.
Definitely.
What do you think about in the beginning? There was Bjorn was able to say he could like look right through, or rather SOS was saying he could look right through Bjorn, and it was seeming like, you know, maybe he wasn't respecting his opponent enough. Was there any thought you had on that and the way that they were going into the game mentally and trying to talk each other down?
Yeah, I think the talk is always like part of it, and I always think about like Conor McGregor now, where like that's a real aspect of the fight. Like, you know, all that shit talk and all that, you know. Yeah, it's definitely part of it. But I think that, yeah, what you said earlier, like, I feel like SOS kind of underestimated Beyond. Like, I think he just played, like, straight-up Magger games, like, for the most part. And I'm like, you know, it's Beyond, man. Like, gotta do some weird shit. Like,
Beyond's micro was really on point, and I think that SOS was, you know, he was losing a lot to Widow Mines where I think he could have pulled. I mean, I think there was one point where there were some Cyclones that flew right by some Oracles, but aside from that, Beyond's micro just didn't really miss a beat, and SOS looked like he maybe wasn't on top of his game as much.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys had this feeling, but like when I was watching the GSL, I was like terrified. I was like, is this just gonna happen to me now? Like, are all these like Terrans gonna get like crazy and like, because I have trouble with like Terran, and I always have. Like, I've never been like a great micro player. Like in HOTS, I would always like lose Colossus to like 4 Marauders who just like charge at me, and I just like get terrible. God, go away. But yeah, like now I feel like it's gonna get worse, and it's all because of Beyond, man.
Yeah, man.
Well, he played Beyond unbelievably.
Indeed.
So.
Did you write that down? Did you write that joke?
I had like 6 Beyond jokes written down like on the side of my monitor here, and I just was like, let's go with that one.
The one I had to write down was that he bent reality with his micro. I thought that was one of the best talking points of the game.
Yeah.
Tasteless throwing that out there.
Yeah, it's true. Like it's cool. Like even though StarCraft's so old, when you see like new stuff in the game that you feel like you haven't seen before, and especially in terms of like talent, where these guys are playing like 1 million hours a day, and like they're still reaching this level that I feel like honestly we haven't like seen before. You know, like no one's impressed me that much with like their micro. Like Maru was like amazing, and like MKP before, but it's like now it's like he's doing all that stuff they were doing, and he's doing new shit. Like, so it's like he's even better than all that stuff, you know?
Yeah. It's unreal.
I miss some of those little players like MKP and DRG and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I know DRG's still around, but he hasn't been very good lately.
He's also like really old, like for a pro gamer. Yeah. So he tries to get into like Code A and stuff. I think he might try to do that again.
Well, maybe he'll pull it together.
Yeah, maybe. That'd be cool to see him.
I'd like that. All right, man. Well, I think that's all we had for you. Unless Zili, you had anything else?
No, man. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been really cool to get some perspective from somebody who's kind of been there a little bit, maybe not on the same stage, but all the insight. Thanks for joining us, and it was great.
It's been dank.
It's been real, man. It's been real dank.
It's been real dank.
All right, guys. Thanks for inviting me. Shout out to my team, Psistorm Gaming, and have a great night.
Yeah. You want to say how people can get a hold of you or anything like that, or?
Yeah, my Twitter, I don't look at it that much, so I'm gonna look that up stealthily right now. It's
actually correct. It's at Psistorm MygraiN with a capital M, capital N.
It's actually at MygraiN, PSI, and then MygraiN, MyGrain. And yeah, if you want to like tweet at me or whatever, I actually like to like talk to more people in game. I don't actually have that many StarCraft friends, so talking to you guys has been awesome.
We can be friends.
It's been real fun. So.
All right, guys. Have a great night.
All right,
You
take
too,
it
take
easy.
care, man.
Go.
All right. I just wanted to say thanks again for James for stopping by. I want to apologize about the quality. We had a little minor issues going on, but those should be taken care of now.
Skype sucks.
Yeah, Skype sucks. We're back to using Google, which apparently is 100 times better.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so Swick, we have the SSL games. So we had Dark versus Solar.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool having two of the Korean tournaments and finals this weekend. I believe the SSL was played after the GSL, and we had a ZVZ, so I'm sure a lot of you out there didn't get to check it out, but it was fun. It was a good series, and I think we saw some good games here.
Yeah, I went to Game 7, so it was close.
Yeah, I think there were some cool plays. I was hoping to see a little bit more of the late game. We saw a lot of games that were roaches, but I think a lot of it, what it comes down to, is these Korean players just know when to attack and when to kill when they can, and they utilize that.
We did see some interesting use of Swarm Host.
Yeah, pretty cool. I mean, a big shout out to New Gettysburg. That's such a fun map, and Solar went out there and tried using something interesting. He ended up not being able to hold, but tried to go out there and throw down the Nidus Worm and get the Swarm Hosts out, and did it. I mean, it was really close. If he would have got a couple of Spore Crawlers up, he could have potentially held with some Swarm Hosts. So we've seen Swarm Hosts in a GSL Game 7, and I'm sure David Kim is feeling pretty good.
Yeah. He loves Swarm Hosts. He wants to make sure that those are viable and still a thing for some reason.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we also saw some sick Lurker Muta on Galactic.
Yeah, Galactic Process was another one of the games that ended up going a little bit to the later stage, and I think it was really cool. I think Solar has the edge here in this ZVZ a little bit in tactics. I think Dark is a player that has some really interesting late game strategies, and you don't get to play that out in ZVZ. And I think that Solar had a better sense of, like we were talking about, attacking and killing. And when Solar went for his all-ins, he was able to make them work. And there were some times, like on Apotheosis, where Dark went and just couldn't get it done with his early pools. And we didn't see a lot of pool first, but it seemed like Solar was just kind of knew what to do and what not to do, and took advantage of that. So going for the Lurkers on a Galactic Process, that ended up being a good call for him.
To me, it seemed like maybe Dark didn't prepare for Solar very hard. If that makes sense, because I feel like they're different. They're such different players.
Yeah,
I feel like Dark had the advantage, and I'm not for sure how he let Solar win.
Well, I know we were previewing this match. I was thinking to myself that Dark's one of these guys that he's got that really interesting specific style that he brought in ZVP. He plays really interestingly with drops in ZVT, but I don't know much about his ZVZ because I don't play Zerg, so I don't watch it all the time. But I think that Solar's one of these guys that just kind of plays aggressively, and I think that plays in his favor in this matchup.
I mean, ultimately, it came down to him having Nuts of Steel for Game 7, going for that 14-14.
Absolutely. That was really cool to watch because you're on a Game 7 in one of these grand finals, and the crowd was absolutely nuts. And it was cool. It was nice to see him saying, I don't care, I'm going to do this, and I don't think you're going to be ready for it. And Dark absolutely wasn't.
Yeah. To quote Duke Nukem, I've got balls of steel.
Yeah, it was a cool series. ZVZ, I think that's about as good as it could possibly get. So I enjoyed that. If you're a Zerg player and you want to see how to play the matchup, I think that's really good. It was a lot of roaches, not as much Ling Bane. I think these players have too good of a micro to try to win the game that way.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say that I think Dark going for the tunneling claws in a couple games maybe wasn't his best call. It didn't seem to work well against what Solar was going for. So potentially his downfall in a couple of those matches. But the Game 7, getting it that far, really cool matches. So check out the VODs. They are on YouTube if you want to watch that.
Yeah. I feel like Tunneling Claws is a little bit underutilized, honestly, in PvP. I feel like we don't see it that often, so maybe that's what his thought process was for that.
Yeah, I mean, it used to get used a lot in Heart of the Swarm.
Yeah.
It was a big thing, but there's so much to do now. It was kind of cool seeing Dark come out with something innovative, but it just didn't work against Solar, and I think Solar did a better job prepping for this game, potentially, than Dark did for his opponent.
All right, well, next we have the Kespa Cup. We had a little bit of drama with that. It wasn't casted. Kespa having some issues with base trade having some issues with Kespa, dealing with some money. It's since been sorted out now. I understand the one that happened today, which we're not talking about yet, was casted.
Yeah, so NA and EU are getting casted. It was just the Korean one that didn't.
Right. So yeah, I'm glad that they got that sorted out. but disappointed that this one didn't get casted. So we're just gonna quick go over who won basically. So Group 1, we had Dark 2-0, or I'm sorry, Dark lost 2-0 to Pet.
Yeah, really big upset there.
Definitely. I don't. That seems like a weird. How did that happen? But maybe he was just tilted from losing to Solar, I guess.
That's right.
And speaking of which, in Group 2, we had Solar win 2-1 over Lucira.
Yep. And then in Group 3, we had Björn, our GSL Code S champion, the teamless man, making it getting it done as well in the Kespa League. He beat Biol 2-0, and then we had TY advancing over Live 2-0 in Group 4.
Yeah, we had a lot of 2-0s because then going into Group 5, we had Trap 2-0 Young, and then we had Classic beat Hush 2-1.
Yep. And Group 7, it was Patience 2-0ing SOS. Kind of interesting that both of the players who didn't make it out of their championship games didn't also get out of the Kespa Cup. There may be some emotions going on. Yeah.
Probably.
Absolutely tilted. And then we had Rogue going 2-1 over Myungshik.
So, I mean, I guess that's kind of to be suspected. I mean, Myungshik's a good player, but, I mean, Rogue has been around for a long time, and I feel like he just isn't one to fall for Protoss, cheesy tactics.
And he's playing really well right now. You saw him going and doing some things in the in Pro League, and yeah, he was playing well in the SSL also, so he got through there. And the big thing to take away from this is that SOS lost the GSL, and his loss here eliminated him from BlizzCon, so
yeah. $,
oh $. Sorry,
SOS. Better luck next year.
Yeah, he won't be there, but it'll be cool. There'll still be some great Koreans there.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, moving on to just general news. We did have the patch balance, so there's a current ladder system with the balance map. It has an MMR ranking, so you can kind of play some somewhat competitive games with the new test maps.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are doing this. They're going in and queuing up in games. So if you're interested in what's going on, what the proposed changes are, we're planning on going over that next week. So if you want to submit some questions on twitter.com @Dank Shrine about the balance patch, we're going to go over some of the specifics of that since we don't have as many tournaments to go over next week. And we have a couple of questions about it this week even, and we'll go through those at the end.
Yep. Other general news, Kespa joins force with Team Liquid. Or I'm sorry, Kespa. That'd be weird.
Yeah, it wasn't Kespa.
No, it was Team Liquid joined forces with Crunchyroll, offering a free trial for 1 month, guys. So if you love the anime and you want to check out some stuff you haven't seen in a while, someone's telling me that there's some good old stuff on there that I like. And there's some of the new stuff too. So if you're a big fan of anime, go ahead and check that out.
Do you watch much anime, Toast?
Not as much as I used to. I don't really like the new art styles. I like the old shit from like the 90s.
Okay. I have nothing to say about anime. I apologize.
No, it's not for everyone. But
I mean, I got nothing against it. I've just never gotten into it, so I'll leave that to you.
Well, I tell you what, my biggest recommendation for anime right now is Initial D, which is a 90s drift anime about the tofu shop car that goes up and down Mount Akina, which is fucking awesome. So if you like cars, like anime, check that one out. There
you go. A little bit of general news that's local for us at BornGosu is our very own Oddbeta recently played Tumescent Pie, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tumescent Pie, but he's kind of a salty player. He's not very good, he's not bad. He's not a bad player, but he was able to beat him without even making a spawning pool, which is pretty cool. I don't know if you guys saw the post on Twitter, but essentially he said he's a big fan of him, and then Tumescent Pie left the game. So, shouts out. What's that?
I said apparently he wasn't a big fan of Advita.
Yeah, Advita. He's got the mind games. So yeah, he's going up for us next week in CTL because he knows how to beat his opponent without even doing anything.
We're just gonna play him in all matches.
Yeah, and another thing we have is an update for Starcraft.
Yeah, we have the new hero, Alarak, who plays like an aggressive style, like unlike some of the other co-op people that you play, the characters, I guess. He's more front focused, so he does all the melee himself. He dives in, and it's your job to keep him alive, basically. While he deals huge amount of DPS damage, your job is to make sure he has enough, units around him to support him.
So I've only played co-op once. I know a few people in our clan like it. It seems pretty cool, and I know more people play co-op than they do 1v1 ladders.
It's something fun to if you got more time and you just want to mess around, but you still want to play StarCraft, it is fun.
Yeah, it's not bad. I like it because I can play with my cousin because it doesn't take too much CPU like 2v2 games.
Well, and it's actually decent for your macro training and then also your micro too, just because you have to do certain things.
Yeah,
so it can be good. If you want to practice like stuttering and stuff, I mean, it can still be helpful.
Yeah. So I think that's it for general news, huh?
Yeah, moving on to BornGosu news, everyone's favorite segment.
That's right. So for those of you who don't know, BornGosu is our clan in the Chobo Team League. If you're interested in the clan, go to BornGosu.com. It's a great group of people. We all hang out together in Discord, talk strategy, help each other out. Especially the lower level players are able to come in and get some advice. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we compete in Chobo Team League, which is a kind of, I think it's Silver through Masters League and a Pro League style. Essentially, you get a matchup on a known map, and a lot of fun. So if you're interested in that or new to the show, make sure to check us out. And yeah, we're going to talk about our clan BornGosu specifically. Also check out
ShowboatTeamLeague.com, which is the actual league site, and then our site if you're interested with BornGosu in general.
Yeah, so BornGosu.com.
Yeah, the first thing we'll talk about here, we have CSL. We finally have Group A, B, C, and D all ready to go. We have our matchups ready. Unfortunately, only one of our players has advanced, so you unfortunately were knocked out along with Cyrex.
Yeah, I was. I'm going to try to get the brackets going here.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm unfortunately out.
Well, we do still have Savage Sam in, and Sam plays in a way that I think he's got a good chance. And he knows the people that he's playing. He's played Solace before, and he's played Haro. So, I feel like he does have, a decent chance to move on.
Yeah. I think that Savage Sam, like you said, Haro's in the clan a lot. He's talking strategy, and I think that Sam in general has been, playing a lot of PvP. I think he's feeling strong in that matchup. I know we had one for CTL, so I think I favor him in potentially getting out.
Definitely. Do you want to take predictions on who we think is going to get out of each one?
So this is a little bit difficult for us, and apologies to anybody from Chobo Team League who's watching, but I don't know all these players that well. I know Eat My Diction. I don't know if he's good or not, but I've heard his name a bunch.
He's pretty good.
And Siegfried, I know him a little bit more than Cactus Man or Tim, so I'll go ahead and choose those two getting out of Group A.
That's also what I would take.
Let's see here. Mr. Stork and Solace are the two Zergs playing against Haro and Savage Sam. I like Sam. He's been playing well lately, and I'm just going to go Homer and take the two Protosses to get out of Group B.
I'll take the same. Let me take the lead here on C, so I don't feel like I'm just copying you.
Yeah, let me show you. I'm going to try to go full screen to the bracket here.
Oh, there we go. So for Group C, we have Tearing It Up, Sauce King, Ultralisk, and Puddle. Congrats to Ultralisk for winning admin, by the way. Those results just came in maybe 15 minutes ago, so congrats, man.
Yeah.
And I'll take Ultralisk and Sauce King to move through that group.
Yeah, so Ultralisk and Sauce King recently has been hanging out. So I'll say, I'll take those two as well. You know what? I've heard of Tearing It Up before, and I'll take him over Ultralisk just to kind of mix up the predictions.
Gotcha.
I don't know much about Puddle.
Yeah. All right, and then going into to Group D here, we have Pisosa and Neru Uncommon and what's
Vespasian, I think.
Yeah, you're right. I've heard that name before. I'll take Neru and Pisosa.
And I'll take Neuro and Uncommon. And
Matthew Perry.
I like it. I like what he brings to the table.
All right, fair enough. All right, so now we had CTL matches. So happy to say that we won last week.
Who were we up against? It was Psistorm Community Gaming.
Community, yeah. So good thing we had James Lee. He wouldn't be salty.
That's right. Yeah, so we were able to take the win this week, and we kind of wanted to go through the games and give some shout-outs on what we saw that was good.
Yeah. And so game one, we had Jerry versus Dari, PvP in Gettysburg. Jerry had excellent pressure. He did a nice pressure build. He had a decent amount of stalkers. His biggest mistake, so he rolls in, he's got about 3 or 4 stalkers, and instead of going into the main and just taking out the warp-in pylons, he sits there and takes out the next. Now, if he backs out, expands, he's in a good spot. But instead, the other guy comes out with the Mothership Core, a couple of stalkers, and an Immortal. And then he just ended up dying, and then it was GG. So had he pressed in, he probably could have won that. Or he just killed that Nexus and then left, and I just sat in that natural.
probably could have won. But still did a good job with the pressure. Just needs to learn when to keep going.
Yeah, and that can be a tough thing in this matchup for PvP. You have to worry about the overcharge. So Jerry's one of our newer players, and I'm sure he'll figure that one out. Game 2, we had Darth King versus Evil Flame, and I didn't get the replay because it wasn't on the website, but I do believe that Evil Flame... yeah, come on, Shobos. Evil Flame did get the victory there, and I don't know how he did it, but he did it, and I'm going to go ahead and say he did it well.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing pretty good for us. I mean, he's one of our better gold players. So
and I like him. He's a local Bay Area guy, so it's cool with me.
Yeah. All right, well, Game 3, we had Tokens Trader versus me. PVT on Frost. Frost is a hard map for me because you can't really do too much cheesy stuff just based on like scouting locations. That didn't stop me. I still did. I still did a proxy Stargate 3-gate like I've been doing, and I still won. So that just makes me a 3-0 this season.
You know, MygraiN and I were talking before you showed up for the show earlier, and he was just admiring the way that you play and how cool it is that there's all kinds of ways to play StarCraft. And if you want to make a proxy Stargate and win that way, you can, because that's what makes StarCraft so beautiful.
Yeah, he was gonna copy it. I mean, I'm gonna trademark that build though, so everyone just knows like you know, like there's the Artosis pylon and like the Roddy build, like that's the toast.
Yeah, it doesn't burn. Jelly's just right. It's just what you want.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you've been doing really well with that. So, congratulations on doing so well and helping out the team so much with that.
Thanks.
The next match we had was Hugo Ahab, Savage Sam against Ben the Kid, a PvP, and I watched this. Sam did a really good job here. He lost his early adepts, but he did a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of damage with an Oracle. I think that Sam just won this game with some good execution. He made the right calls. He didn't push in too hard. He was able to deny a third base, get a third base faster than his opponent, always do some great job scouting with his Oracle, and his opponent kind of failed to scout his army, and he did a great job getting out of Warp Prism when he needed it. I feel like it just seemed to me like we've been talking well about Sam, but Sam's been playing well, and I think that he just showed his kind of skill in this matchup and knowledge in this matchup in this game. So congrats to Sam on taking the win there.
Yeah, good job, Sam. Game 5, we had Felicitas versus Chopin on Dasan, so super cancer map. Chopin played a pretty good game, and it really just came down to scouting, and he lost to like a mass blink stalker attack basically. So I mean that can be tough in that matchup if you don't have blink. I mean, basically whoever gets blink first wins for the most part. So, but he's coming up. He's getting a lot better. I can see him getting into platinum here pretty soon.
Yeah, he's practicing a lot, and that's nice. Immortals are really good against blink stalkers, by the way.
It's a fun fact.
The next game we had was Seretti. You know, I always don't know if I'm saying his name right. Do you know how to say it?
I call him Seretti. That's how I've always said it.
Yeah, I think it's Seretti, but Seretti was playing 8 Vol. It was a TVT on Frozen Temple, and it was a great game. I really think Seretti played well here. He was taking some initial pressure with some Hellions, Reapers, and a Banshee, took damage, but was able to come back with some really good tank positioning, get his natural up. And it seemed to me like he knew the way of TVT. He didn't go in with a massive drop, which I know a lot of people do, but he was able to kind of push at his opponent and essentially just take out his base when he could, his natural, and kind of starve him out and just win the game. And it seemed like a really convincing win. It seems like he's got a good grasp on that matchup.
Yeah, he definitely does. I want to say that's almost his best matchup.
Yeah.
Game 7, we had Force SX versus Ulkin. TVT on Galactic Process. Ulkin did lose that one. He opened with the 2 racks, and he did kind of like a 1-1-1 with Banshees, which delayed his expansion. He held Reaper Aggression, and then he went Reaper Hellion, and then they ended up trading pretty evenly. But it got to the point where Ulkin's Banshees didn't do enough damage, and let Force XX expand, and then a couple bad fights, and then he ended up just taking it. So it was a good game, pretty standard, nothing like crazy. It was just one of those games where he had a little bit of control.
Yeah. So our game 8 was Narwhal playing for the master spot on King Sejong Station as the first map. A ZVZ, he likes this matchup. It's his best matchup, and he showed why. He was able to come in with a 13-12 against the pool hatch gas, and he just got a lot of damage done. He was able to get some really good micro and just win the game early with the hatch tech. And yeah, he didn't expand on that game, I don't think. The next game was a 14-14 on Frost, and I believe it was Frost, and he was able to essentially back off when he'd gotten enough damage done, defended, or he'd killed his opponent's expansion, and he was able to expand himself and then be able to throw down a Roach Warren while continually pressuring his opponent, get some roaches across the map, reinforce with lings, and win the game in the early phase where he has a lot of strength with his micro, especially that Ling Bane micro. So good job to Tim for winning that one. Narbal taking the Masters match, and yeah, he's got a tough matchup next week too, but you can check that out in our newsletter for BornGosu in the BornGosu Updates channel.
Yeah. Next we have BGSL. Shouts out to watch those VODs, which are on the YouTube page where this video is posted. So if you guys want to check those out, those are good games as well.
Yeah.
And we're going into we're getting near to the end here.
Yep.
We do have our bracket here. Zili, why don't you go ahead and pull that up?
Yep.
So currently, who we have left? We have Banana Keeks or Banana Cookies versus Skyhook, Ulkin versus Wobbs, Savage Sams versus Matt, Shine KO versus you.
That's right.
So pretty interesting here. Who we gonna take here in that first matchup? We got Banana Keeks, Skyhook.
I got to go with Skyhook here. I think that I know that in CSL last year he made it all the way to the end. I don't know how he did in BGSL, but Banana Keeks, I think he's a little bit newer. Skyhook is familiar with it, and I think he'll end up taking the game there after beating his brother.
I think you'd be surprised because I watched Banana Keeks beat Skyhook in a Pete mode match.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that tilted him a lot or not, but I'm gonna go for the upside. I'm gonna say Banana Keeks wins.
All right, I like it. So our next one is Ulkin versus Wobbs. I think I'm gonna go with Ulkin here. He isn't going to school, isn't distracted by all the college life, and yeah, he's been practicing a lot, and I like it. I like his matchup here with against Wobbs the Zerg.
Yeah, I'll take the same as well. I think Ulkin takes it. I think Wobb's been pretty distracted by that VT food and also some of the tail running around that place.
They had a big football game last week. I'm sure he's watching. Not a lot of time for Starcraft, but Wobbs still plays really well. He was actually, shouts out to Wobbs for helping me practice a bunch when I was training for KU last week. He's got a great game. He spanked me up and down the floor, so he's a good player for sure.
All right, next we got Savage Sam versus Matt. That's going to be a pretty decent game, but I'll take Savage Sam.
Yeah, Matt's a newer player. He's still learning, and Savage Sam, as we've said, is playing really well right now. So Sam advances out of that bracket is my prediction.
Yep. And then finally we have Shine KO versus you. I will take you.
All right. I think that usually I don't root for myself when we go through the predictions here because I was up against KU, and KU's better than me. I think that Shine's better than me too, but I have some time to practice for this match. It's on Sunday, and I'm gonna predict that I win. So bring it, Shine.
Ooh, those are fighting words.
That's right.
All right. Well, then again, so then the prize layout for that is going to be first place $30, second place $20, third place $10.
Yep. And again, it'll be streamed this Sunday from noon to 5 Pacific time on Twitch TV/BornGosu, and those VODs will be uploaded to the YouTube here, the BornGosu YouTube that you're probably watching this video on. So make sure to check those out if they're not. There's already some previous matches, and then the new ones from Sunday will get uploaded once they're recorded. Yeah, guys. So make sure you take a look at those. There's going to be some good games. We move into our final segment here. We do have a couple of Twitter questions that we wanted to get to because we know that you guys took the time to tweet out to us. Unfortunately, James is no longer with us, so some of these were directed at him. We're going to just kind of go over those because they're kind of nonsense. He's a busy man. I think he's a grad student and working like 2 jobs and still beating. He played Jon Snow on the ladder earlier, by the way, when we were hanging out.
Yeah, he's a workaholic. He's making it happen for himself, and he's just an all-around good dude. So yeah, again, shout out to James for just being an all-around baller, man.
He had good things to say about you too, by the way. I know you got coached by him previously for winning a tournament, right?
Well, it was kind of the other way around. I was more showing him.
Oh,
I'm kidding. Yes. He was showing me a lot of good stuff, but and I've gotten a lot better since then. Which is one of the reasons why I wanted to have him on the show, kind of show him some appreciation and kind of pay it back.
Yeah, I like it, and I think it was cool having him on. So the questions that we have for him, unfortunately, we can't answer, but we'll answer the other ones.
Well, they're a little bit nonsense anyway. So one of the first questions was, "Why are you so sexy?" Which was directed at all 3 of us, and I'm just going to answer for all of us, saying we were born with it.
No, I had to work hard. A lot of plastic surgery.
Ooh, I could kind of tell. No, I'm just kidding. Then we had Acid Cacti ask, "What do you think will be the Protoss meta for all matchups?" That's hard to say because obviously we don't know what patches are going to go through and what is and what isn't. I don't think it's going to change a whole lot. I just think that Tempest and Carrier will be utilized a bit more so Tempest than anything else, just because of its zoning out like harassment ability.
Now, he doesn't say specifically for the new balance patch here.
That's what I'm assuming he's talking about.
Well, I'm assuming he's not, so I think that what he wants to get at is Adepts, and it is that way a bit. Adepts are kind of used in all the matchups now, but it is a lot specific. If you go for a lot of Adepts, you aren't going to have as good of a late game, so it is a lot specific in each matchup. There's some units you're going to see, you see a Disruptor a lot more versus Zerg and Protoss than you do versus Terran now, the way it is, and Colossi you see a lot more against Terran than you do against others, so I don't think you can say there's a certain meta that you'll see in all the matchups, but if he's getting to Adepts, yes, Adepts are good. And when you warp them in your opponent's mineral line, they always do damage.
Yeah, you should always be making Adepts.
Yeah.
All right, and then finally, our final question is: I tried the from Chems. I tried the new test matchmaking. I played a TVT. I think it's useless to play mirrors and test. Your thought?
So, I don't know about this. It seems kind of silly because I think TVT is one of the biggest things that's been changed. The tanks no longer be able to picked up by medevacs, so I think that would be the most utilized balance test matchup of them all.
I don't think it's useless just for the pure fact that you're still going to hit that on ladder and you're still going to want to know what to do on ladder. Now, I think if all those changes go through, those are going to turn into complete turtle games, which won't be the most fun to play. But I don't think they all will. But mirror matchups are still always going to be part of the game. It's not like you're never not going to play that.
Right, and there's not a ton of changes. We're talking about a few changes. It certainly changes the whole game, but I think that it's not like it's not useful to do that. And I think that TVT in particular would be the one that is the most dramatic change.
Definitely. All right, well, I think that's all we have for this week. I want to thank, shouts out again to James. Zili did an excellent job this week. Shouts out to everyone who's followed the Twitter this week, everyone who upvoted in the Reddit thread. We really appreciate the opportunity for you guys liking our content and giving us the passion to keep it up and keep creating.
Yeah, so we like doing this. I love StarCraft, and I think it's cool to talk about it, and it's cool that people are interested. We're going to continue to put out a show every week.
Yeah.
Shouts out to our clan, BornGosu, and then just talk about what's going on. So it's great. We hope you guys are liking it. And yeah, go ahead and submit any comments or feedback to @Dank Shrine. Apologies for the technical issues earlier. Hopefully they get better, and screw Skype.
Yeah. Every week we aim to get a little bit better and better, and hopefully we can keep that trend going.
Yeah. So thanks again, you guys.
Yeah. Until next week, guys. Stay dank.
That's right.